Okay, welcome to the Learn to Play Guitar session 7 for kids. And this is going to be a great one. We're going to rock these kids out. Um, and I hope that the kids out there or the adults that are learning to play get your guitars ready. And we will get to playing, okay? So we're just going to hold on 1 minute, grab your guitars, and let's get at it. Okay, are we getting ready? So for the kiddos, what we're working on is just these. I got the camera really close up to the first 4 frets so that they can kind of learn this. We've been wanting to get our hands just in this kind of pattern, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, this kind of idea. And if I can get a kid just to work on these kind of scales where they're just working on that's good, because then I'm working on this right hand over here, you know, and maybe they have a pick, so they're just doing this. And what we've been working on a little bit is pull-offs. So I'm just hitting it once, and I'm just moving. And we're also working on a little bit of these little chords that we're doing, where we're just putting one kind of two notes. And these notes only consist of 1, 2 frets over and just below the first one. So that's all the chord is just one note down with your first finger. And then your second note is going to be the third finger just below the string that you're playing with your first finger. And I got a little distortion on the guitar today, so it sounds kind of cool, because I had you guys work on just this little. Just pulling off just with those two, which I'm trying to get you guys just to kind of get your fingers used to pulling off. And if you arrange this, if any of you have practiced a little bit, then you know that if you just arrange these kind of chords in a certain way, you kind of start having songs, right? Stuff like that, you know? So I think of old songs I used to play when I was a kid. Stuff like that. So that's, but you can see your hands are just, you're just learning how to play these little chords. So, and the cool part is that what you do is, if you want to get that chugging sound as a kid, if you're going, man, Bo, I really like that sound, what we're doing is we're just kind of chugging. Now, nowadays they do all kinds of rhythms with this. It's really cool. But for now, we're just chugging away. See how you just put those 2 chords up there? That's it. And all I wanted you guys to do is work with these first 4 frets. That's it. That's all you got to do is work with these first 4 frets. And there you go. Now, what we're going to do today is just organize a little bit and actually get our scales to actually look like what we call major minor scales. So we're going to look at a major or a minor scale. But if you're used to what we've been working on, this isn't going to seem weird at all. So all we're doing is we're going to now organize. We're going to only play certain notes within this scale that we did. And remember, the scale is really easy. It's just this. It's every single note. So that's all it is. So now what we're going to do is we're not going to hit every note. We're actually going to just hit certain ones and see what that does. See what your ear thinks of it. So let's kind of just start. We're going to start with our hands like this, but now we're going to just play that note, and then open the first string. So this is all on the first string. Now do that on the second string. So now what you got is this. Whoa, it's starting to sound a little different, huh? Now we're going to keep going and learn this minor scale. And again, we're just working with these first 4 frets, so no big thing, no big deal. You guys can get this with no problem. So you've already got familiar with this up here, so now we're just doing this little thing. And then what we're going to do is put our second on the third finger, or the third finger, sorry, on the second fret. And that's the third string. So check this out. And kids, if you want to be cool, just learn to hammer on there. That's kind of cool, right? So you can just, this minor scale is really simple for you to learn. So, and then we're going to go third fret, third string, or third fret, third string, or third finger, and we're going to do the fourth. Now we're working on the fourth string. Second finger, open. So that's it. And then that same look on the fifth string. So now what you have is this. So it's starting to sound like something, and actually now what you've done is you've taken this scale that you've been working on for the last month, which is just a chromatic scale. We've been hitting every single note. And now what we're doing is we're taking out some notes and we're just leaving the other ones in, and now it's turned into what's called a minor scale. And in guitar, you have the big ones. You have major, you have minor, and then you have augmented. Scale. Tell me what you think of it. So what does that sound like to you? It sounds kind of interesting. Now let's make it major. How does that sound? That sounds different. That's minor. That's major. Now check this out. If I would play diminished, what we call diminished or augmented, hear what this sounds like. Sounds like a movie, huh? Like when you watch a scary part of a movie, it's like. Sounds kind of that weird eerie sound, right? That's kind of diminished. Now, if you play augmented, here, check out how your ear kind of hears this one. That's kind of different too. It's kind of, to me, it feels like space. It's kind of a neat sound. I kind of like augmented. It's definitely kind of spacey. So in guitar, we kind of use major, minor, augmented, diminished. And usually we're in the major and minor. So what we're learning up here is just this minor scale. This is the first minor scale that you're learning. So it might seem a little different and a little tricky, but you just write it out or put it in your mind, the pattern. Isn't that cool? Now you can hammer on or pull off these scales. So I've had you guys work on your pull-offs and your hammer-ons. Remember that? So when you're doing scales, you can just hit it once and pull off. A lot of people do that. So a lot of people hit and then, they hit and pull off. Or you can hit and hammer on. It's kind of cool. It's not too bad. I kind of like it like that. So that's how you're going to want to work on that scale. And I always suggest that you pick every note at the beginning just to make it really work on your fingering, your right hand too. So that would be a good thing to start practicing if you're a kid and you've been just doing guitar for a little bit. So again, we're not working so much with chords. We're just working with your fingers on these first 7 frets. That's what we're working on, is just getting these things down and together. But if you already know these chords and you already know the chromatic scale, because we went over those, you should be practicing those. Now you know your first minor. So pretty cool, right? Not too bad. Not too bad. So now let's work on a little bit of a major look and see if you guys can get this too. We're going to work from this string now all the way to the high E string, and we're going to work on another different little pattern for you guys. So it's going to be just an open low note. So this 6th string, we're going to hit that open, and we're going to use our second finger, just like we were doing the chromatic scale. We're going to use our second finger on the 2nd fret, 4th finger on the 4th fret, just like we've been doing. Next string, open. So it's just this 5th string open, the 2nd fret, and then we hit the 4th fret. So it kind of looks like this. So let me show you this next part. Remember, we're just playing with our fingers on these frets like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this next line is on the 4th string. Remember, we always count up. So 4th string, we go 1, 2, and then we go to 4. And the next string, the 3rd string, we go 1, 2, 4. So that's how that looks. It looks like this. Open, 2, 4, open, 2, 4, then 1, 2, 4, and then next string, 1, 2, 4. Now, if we want to get really tricky, kind of crazy for the kiddos, then we'll go to the next. We'll keep going with this major scale, but we're going to go into the fifth fret. And so I know we never really crossed into the 5th fret yet, but hey, it's session number 7. It's about time that we move into the 7th or the 5th fret. So this one is going to look like this. Look at, we start here, and now we're going to go. We're going to move, instead of having our fingering like this usually, we're going to move everything up, just 1. And we're going to go on the 2nd string, 1, 3, 4. Next string, this is the 1st string, 1, 3, 4. Now I hope you see what we did is this kind of format where we just go 1, 2, 3, 4 starting on the 1st fret. See, we can move this format, we can move it there, and now we play like that. Or we can move it there, and we can play like that. Or we can move it there, or there, or there, or there, or there, or there, and we can play like that. Isn't that cool? Yeah, we're just learning it right here, so you guys are right in here all the time, most of the time, right? But what I want you to do is, you see, the reason why I'm having all the kids learn their fingering right here, just in this first 4 frets, is because when I want them to be able to move, and then they realize that they're just going to be working now in this area, and then they'll move and they'll work in this area. So when you see someone play guitar, all we're doing is we're working within these little areas. And that's how my mind, that's how my eyes look at it. My eyes are looking down at these areas. And so even though you see my fingers and everybody's focused on my fingers, my brain is looking at these little formatted areas that I'm in. And so that's why it's important that when you're working on this stuff, you get it down, because pretty soon you're going to want to come over here, and then come over here, come over here, come over here, come over here. See, so we're working all within these framework, and chords, our chords are always in the same way too. We're working within a framework. So hopefully you understand that. You can get it, that we're working within this area, then we move our fingers and we work within this area, and we work within this area. So this latter part of the major scale that I'm teaching you starts, instead of in this format, we're going to move it just 1 up, and we're going to go 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. So that's kind of how that goes. So this is how that major scale sounded. It started here. So that's kind of cool, right? So you had your minor. Then you had your major. like that. So just so you know too, the minor is an A minor, and the major, or the major is a E major. And so if you know those chords, they're really simple. I mean, look at my hands. And then look what I do to make an A minor. Everything just dropped one. That was it. Isn't that crazy? So the E major, the E minor, so it's kind of funny, right? Because you can play the minor or the major. You can play the minor. Major. Minor. Now that might be a little fast for you because you're not used to playing, but that's what you're trying to do is practice. So when you practice, you're gonna practice your little scales like this, your little chromatic scales, which is every note. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna work on now your minor. Then you're gonna work on your major. And work on just going nice and slow. We're in no rush. So when you think of guitar and you hear people playing chords, that's D major. Well, guess what? There's a D major scale. That's A minor. We just learned the A minor scale. That's E major. We know the E major scale too. That's G major. There's the G major scale. That's C major. That's a C major scale, right? So you can see how this works. The chords that you guys are used to seeing, there is scales for every single chord. Or I could say it the other way around, that there's a chord for every scale. All the chords have notes that make up the relative scale. So hopefully you're starting to see that, wow, if we just pull if we pull some of our notes out of our chromatic scale, which was every note, we pull some of those notes out and we arrange them a certain way, now we have things that are defined by major and minor. And just as we're going to learn chords that have major and minor in them, so it has a relative scale that's major or minor too. But all the notes we're ever going to play in the guitar all come out of just the chromatic scale. They come out of every one of these notes. So if I'm playing even this, all those notes that I just played are all in Can you believe it? Every note I just played is in right there. It's all there. I just arranged them in a different format at a higher pitch to make it sound really cool and to make it playable. Okay? So that's all I'm doing, is just organizing those things. So that's kind of how guitar works. Is when you learn chords, there's scales for every chord. So when you're playing in G major, there's a G major scale. You know, if you're playing in C, there's a C major. So every chord that you hear has a relative scale to it. So if I'm playing so you have a scale that can play with every chord. And so when I'm working with kids, I'm always trying to help them see that if you can play the chromatic scale up here, which is every note, then you're going to be able to play. You're going to be able to play whatever you want to play. So it is every note I just played is all in the chromatic scale. That's right here within this first four notes, our first four frets. So learn your chromatic, then go to your minor, then go to your major that I just taught you, and just work on those right now. Because if you can get these formats, then what we can do, we start moving over here, and start moving more. And that's what my next lesson will be for the shredders, the guys who want to really play lead and get all in and out. We're going to work on some more of our modes, and I'll teach the kiddos modes later on. But right now they're only on session 7, so hopefully this will help them. Again, if you have a kid who wants to learn, just have them work on his fingers. And we're working on these chords. Really easy, but they're, again, we hear that a lot. And that's all. If we can get these down, we're going to be able to do everything else. So again, the guitar is just repetition. If you can just get everything down here, then you're going to be able to get everything down all over the place. And then you'll be able to play these cool, licks. Stuff like that. That's really fun, and all the pentatonic stuff, and there's just so many cool things to learn, right? But if you can get everything down here, then you will be able to move that way. So hey, I'm going to start the next lesson coming up, so take care.